Welcome. Well, today is September the 8th, 2021. Okay, we are in the midst of a new moon at 14 degrees Virgo. We are starting the galactic, the galactic new cycle, and the cycle is the red magnetic dragon, okay? And that started September the 1st, and it goes for 260 days. It's actually a cosmic restart, okay? So we're at a very, very powerful place. And then tomorrow, on September 9th, we have the 9-9 portal, okay? What I want to do today is I haven't written anything. I usually write everything out. What I have done is pulled information from 2007 as to what's happening right now and why. This is totally my personal insights and downloads that I get. So it may resonate with you and it may not resonate with you. And whatever, that is all right. I just need to share because I do know a lot of people are very, there's high anxiety, there's confusion, there's a lot of fear, okay? Because right now we have this Uranus Saturn where we need our freedom and we're being, our freedom is being taken away from us. Or let me put it this way, we are allowing it, okay? What we're talking about is attuning and aligning with the divine, finding your balance, okay, and having the courage to be authentic, transparent, whatever. And it's about you. What we're taking into the context, though, is what we something called the human factor, okay, how different people respond and react, different levels of consciousness. So it's like from kindergarten to whatever. Let's take it as a light bulb, it's better, okay? Because I had a dream about that one time. So a 20-watt light bulb is a different illumination than a spotlight, and that's different levels of consciousness, okay? Because we're all at different levels. Now, I am a co-author of Game Changer, and I started this book by myself about 8 or 9 years ago, then co-authored it. And the interesting thing is that, number one, okay, we see the different changes. It's about relationships. I just have to plug this in. So now, when it comes to relationships, we always think of a relationship with someone, okay? The very first and most important relationship is what? With yourself, okay? And that's like, the runes, they call it the sacred marriage, is you actually have a relationship with the divine or source or whatever you deem the higher power. Okay. And what you can do is if you look up above, you can see where you can actually order it. It's great because the first chapter is all about self-discovery, and there's 8 different areas wherein you have to answer questions. Makes a great, great gift. There's actually a trailer about it. And if you go underneath where it says show me, you will see my website. It's mypersonalmuse.com. I do business and spiritual coaching. This is not the first book I have written. I've had a very diverse career, so you can see my website. There's a lot of testimonials. There's a whole photo album of all the different projects I've been on and the different things I've done. I've been very, very blessed, okay? So now, here we sit, okay? And I'm a member of a tremendous amount of groups. I'm very much out there. I need to see what's happening in the energetic field, okay? Because right now, I've never had a TV for 20 years, okay? And right now we're having a lot of manipulation, which I will talk about, okay? So first of all, I want to say, basically this started 2007, okay? That's when the shifting started coming, the planetary shifting, okay? And I knew this was all happening. And as the years have gone on, I have shared, okay? So let's start with this. most times happiness is better than sadness, and that good luck is better than bad luck. We may avoid confrontations and pursue more comfortable situations. The soul, however, is a different journey and travels an ancient evolutionary path that seeks wisdom and connection to the divine. The path is to connect with our soul and spirit. Okay, that's what this is all about. Change and transformation is not easy as it moves us out of our comfort zone and into the unknown. In the midst of the changes, we do have choices. These are the choices. Put your head in the sand and think the chaos and the challenges will blow over or slow down. Take care of self. Okay, and take care of self. And become conscious of your patterns and behaviors. You need to be the change. No more rose-colored glasses. Rubbing it on or shoving it under the rug. Understanding the nature of these cycles can provide insight that can assist you in your own evolutionary path. You're not the same person that you were like a year ago because of all that has happened. Okay? Nothing wrong with that. A baby walks and eventually runs. Okay? However, those changes and transformations have taken place in you. And as an individual, okay, it all depends on how you use your expanded consciousness and how you make the necessary personal, external, outward changes in your life. Okay, I'm going to say a list of what the changes are going to be. Personal health and fitness, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. 1. Your spirituality, connection to the divine or universal intelligence. 3rd, personal growth. Personal growth, you have the awareness of the changes in the world. Awareness, mindfulness. Personal and intimate relationships will change. Personal and financial responsibilities, your career and your earning potential, where you're living and how you are living, ownership versus rental, traveling and living abroad, mode of transportation, okay, vehicle, transit, and savings, okay, that's the big thing. So actually from 2017 to 2020, astrology tells us that the powerful combination of Uranus and Taurus and the stellium in Capricorn is going to bring the old 20th century system crashing down. People and buildings, even those that in 2017 seemed impossible to topple, will make a dramatic fall. Of course, Uranus and Taurus is all about revolution, money, worth, value. Comes alongside first the Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn, then the other ones. And so this is all across from Christmas of 2017 to 2020. But before that, there's lots of things happening too. Also, this rules, which is really interesting, prime ministers, presidents, chief executives, anybody that's on the top layer, it's going to come toppling down. Okay, so let's start here. So it actually started, one of the start days with Uranus is March the 13th of 2011. And it goes right from May 15th to 2018. This was a big one. So Uranus was in Aries at the time, and I told everybody, this is your time to find your I am presence. Because Aries is all about the I am. And Uranus is about waking up to the I am. But a lot of people didn't, okay? So what you were required to do was to let go of old habits, routines, and structures that kept you from actualizing your potential, okay? It demands that you open your mind to new ideas and new visions. So you just ask yourself a question. What were the changes for you from 2011 to 2018? Did you do any of that work? Okay, the veil was lifted, and it was about looking at your fears so you had more freedom. Okay? Then what happened? Each planet demands you to delve deeper into yourself and pass out of your comfort zone. So that was Uranus in Aries, okay? However, Uranus moved now. We're going to talk about each planet separately. So in May 15th of 2018 until, listen to this, April of 2026, okay? Uranus moved into Taurus, which is an earth sign, okay? And it goes there for 7 years. It profoundly relates to your own personal identity, self-worth, self-identity, less conceptual, and it's more tangible, okay? We can have all these ideas. Taurus is earth sign, okay? And so its identity is in the style that Taurus is related to your body, your home, and your values and priorities, okay? As your soul imprint, always remember the body is the home for the soul, okay? As it wakes from the trance because it's been asleep, okay? The body is the carrier of the soul. Hope you got that. The biggest shift in the entire process of waking up to the new reality is realizing the body is the vector for enlightenment. Take concrete steps, listen to this, to be self-supporting and self-sustaining. Make financial independence your priority. What would you do differently starting now that you heard this? Okay, this is interesting here. As Uranus enters Taurus, it is the last major planet to complete the shift before the passive elements, as now Pluto and Uranus and Saturn are in Earth. It's going to bring around, so this is one that's going to bring it around, so is Pluto. Uranus in Taurus from May 2018 to May 2026 brings about the end of the old government, okay? And everything as we know it, societal structures. Uranus in Taurus in the total deconstruction and reconstruction of taxation, banking, the global transformation is not just going to affect money, but material, tangible assets, okay? So, how have you been? How have you been with your source of money? Have you been able to handle it? Have you lived off credit cards? That's something you need to think about, okay? And it questions your ability to source money, or have you been dependent on someone, okay? Are you able to generate? It's about generating. Money is energy, generating to take care of myself. Aquarian energy, which we're going to talk about, is all about self-sufficiency and efficiency, okay? What you also need to do, okay, is the financial revolution is going to be coming, but how is it going to come? Everybody has their ideas. You know, I wrote in the third nodal that starts in January of 2022. We're talking about the Federal Reserve. Some people are saying everything's going to be wiped out. You know, we're just going to have everything and it's going to be free. And some people think that some of the alien people are going to come and take care of you, or somebody else's. No, none of that. None of that. This is about coming into self, connecting and aligning with the divine. Absolutely no more codependence. End it. Okay? Uranus in Taurus asks you, how are you not free when it comes to money? When it comes to houses and apartments? Classically, when Uranus lands in a new sign, people realize They had no idea just how trapped they were. Okay. That was our first shock. Okay, and just how free we were. Freedom is a big word. Okay. When Uranus finally moves into Taurus, the reality hits the people. So it's hit you. Okay, it's like, oh my God, I'm not really free. I've been thinking I've been free. Okay. What things are worth and why, and when will become a huge question. Okay. Uranus is also the planet that we associate with room to be able to move, to have multiple choices, to have freedom, to have space, and a variety of options. Okay, that's when we're in now. And what are we having a problem with? We are not getting a lot of options. We're trying to be controlled. Okay. One of the great new things is the new technology. Okay, with Uranus, it brings about innovative alternative healthcare, energy, frequency, vibrational medicine, and that's part of the challenge because the pharmaceutical industry is being destroyed. Okay, so that the new can come in because we are energy beings. Okay, look up med beds, look up the Rife machine. Look up a lot of those different kind of things, okay? So Neptune, okay, when Neptune, the transit through Neptune through Pisces, which is right now, from 2011 to 2025, is going to promote innovation and imagination of all things related to Pisces. So we think about Pisces, it's ruled by Neptune, okay? It's different. Uranus, the planet, rules Aquarius, which is more electric energy. Neptune is like water, so it rules Pisces, okay? The transit does the same thing, so it's all about pharmaceutical, water, music, dance, anything that moves, that's got fluidity to it, okay? Also, the big one is this important transition, okay, changes as Neptune emphasizes the spiritual connection that encompasses our being. As all of life begins to be visible, the different realms and levels of life meld into one reality. So Neptune in Pisces aligns the inner connectivity with the spiritual awareness, which is strongly emphasized. And we see a lot of shift in the spirituality. Okay, about life and death. Okay, and what really is death? Is it just passing to another dimension? The transparency of spirit begins to become a haunting event for many who have thought that all they have said and done are not visible. Okay, and so that's some of the main shifts and changes. Okay, now when Pluto went into, that was the big one. So Pluto went into Capricorn. Now I saved this for the last one, okay? So the transpersonal planets are the big ones is Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune. I look at them from a collective and from an individual person's chart also, okay? What we're meant to do. Before Pluto was in Sag, and it was like the law of attraction, with Jerry and Esther Hicks. I trained with them. Okay, we just think it and it comes. And Pluto comes into Capricorn and it looks back and it goes, like, what is with all these people? Okay, because Pluto in Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and we live in the third dimension. We are ascending into the fifth. And into the fourth, the fifth, the seventh, okay? But we need to be able to walk. So we need to walk, okay? That's why we have legs. We need to be grounded in reality. Okay? So the bottom line is the transpersonal planets cause major transformation from the dates November 28th, 2008 to March 23rd. 2023, that's Pluto in Capricorn. And it was really prevalent in the money sector. It was in those times that And I just said it was going to happen. It was the Bernie Madoff scheme, the biggest Ponzi scheme in the world, the loans and savings. It was all about deception, corruption, delusion, greed. Okay, and we can all look out and say, oh, the politicians and this person. Just a minute, look here. Because we have something called moral competency. We have ethics. Okay, some of your ethics teachers are being fired because they will not be controlled, okay? You were being asked and are being asked again, but it's your choice. Life is about choices, okay? To run your life, which is your business, nobody else's business, your business, like it is a mission. It's your mission statement. This is what happens. The days of corporate greed are being destroyed, and all the societal structures are being revamped. That's education, politics, economics, religion, healthcare, religion, everything. And we're being asked to personally let go of any of the inner cobwebs and skeletons that prevent us from getting in touch with the divine, okay? Using our intuition and letting our own light shine so that you can have your sovereignty, be transparent, and be authentic. Challenges over the last few years, and I was a teacher for 20 years, a lot of people have been indoctrinated or brainwashed. Critical thinking skills, common sense, reasoning. And that's the interesting thing, because people have questioned me, okay? Because it says Game Changer, how to love with your head instead of your heart, okay? And the man that helped, because he's one of the top relationship coaches in the USA, because we had 3 different people endorse it. The bottom line is, when we go just with the heart, and we've got to open the heart, and we need to balance. Aquarian energy is balance. Head, heart, Hera. Left, right, brain. Masculine and feminine. So you have a wholeness. The wholeness allows you to be self-sufficient, to go within, find your purpose. And if we do the sign of infinity, I'm going to work my purpose, and then it's going to come back to me. So there's no energy vampires. There's no parasites. There's no hosts. Okay, we're whole beings, okay? And so that's why we need to use all the faculties, okay? There hasn't been a lot of critical thinking skills, a lot of indoctrination, okay? So the next thing is, it's your job to now get everything together, okay? The obvious awareness of the various separations of life and death that will veil between the spiritual and the non-spiritual. So we have a non-physical world, which is spiritual. That's the top of the 8. Then we have a physical world, which is the mundane, and that's our 8, and that is to us to align with it. Now, I'm going to go now next to, where is this? Oh, this is about the nodes, okay? So when I talked about the nodes, here we're now experiencing the lunar nodes from May 6th of 2020 to January 18th of 2022, okay? And so a node is where we're heading, okay? And what we need to leave behind is the south node. No matter what your placement is, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into it that much, but this is what this is all about right now, and I'm sure you can relate. Depending on the areas of your house and ever, we have a Gemini and Sag in our charts. We can apply these, which means in the next 18 months, remember I said from May 6th to January 18th, I'm really excited because I have a nodal return then, okay? We need to learn and understand how the Gemini energy, which is ruled by Mercury, which is communication, and we can let our inner Sagittarius take a back seat. So we have to start thinking. We have to start using this. Now, it's the axis of the mind, knowledge, and how we make sense of the world. and how we are evolving and the ascension process into 5, 7, okay, from the 3D into maybe 9. Some of the challenges, okay, this is unreal, because think about it, are indoctrination, brainwashing, the cognitive dissonance from the house arrests, masks and lockdowns, control mechanisms that affect the ability to process. So when you're all like this, confused, there's trauma, it's really hard to use your discernment so you can get clarity, which when we have anxiety, we just don't have the clarity. That's what they want. Then they can control. Always remember this. Knowledge has power. The question is, what about wisdom, intuition, common sense, life experience, reasoning, critical thinking skills, and logic? Okay? The next challenge, you are to question societal critical thinking skills. Okay? Or have they been indoctrinated? Like some of the news media that doesn't let certain things be exposed, or all media. Okay. There's major cover-ups, scandals, lack of transparency and authenticity. The purpose of the axis is to learn how to balance the lower and the higher mind, and for you to do your own fact checking. Check everything out, okay? So you can get some truth and some understanding. Everybody goes, you know what, truth. I went, you know what, cut it. Truth to me, if I have 5 scales, which I'm going to weigh myself on, if I go on those 5 scales, there might be 1 or 2 pounds. At the end of the month, when I look at my bank balance, I can't, sometimes there's going to be a challenge, but what? 98% of the time it's right. That's truth. Okay, I'm very pragmatic, okay? How do you feel about what I just said? That's the question. Do you feel played? Do you feel manipulated by someone's agenda? So now I was writing this on April the 14th of 2021. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and it was like, I get a message. It's like, you go and check, got to go check something. And so here I put, so today, April 14th, CNN actually came out and did a major disclosure. The audacity is incredible. And how they think it's a joke. They can indoctrinate and manipulate. And they did. Okay? And this was his exact words. And the name of the person, you can check him out. CNN Technical Director Charlie Chester says, look what we did. We, CNN, got Trump out. I'm 100% going to say it. And I 100% believe that if it wasn't for CNN, I don't know that Trump would have got voted out. I came to CNN because I wanted to be a part of that. CNN Technical Director Charlie Chester was caught admitting that CNN used their platform to help Joe Biden's presidential campaign to the detriment of then President Trump. As far as COVID is concerned, that's practically a thing of the past, Chester said. COVID will taper off to a point that it's not a problem anymore. Then climate change will take years because they want to distract you from who you are and what you need to do, that you need to get self-mastery, okay? And that's where we need to, the battle of the ideas, we need ethical competency was defined in terms of moral competence, okay? And so basically it's up to you, okay? So I don't need to read anymore. It's just, I want you to do some thinking. I don't have a lot of, I'm not a person that fears. I'm a person that looks at the truth, my truth. I have to process it, okay? It's just like if it's apples and oranges. I know this is oranges and this is apples. And I took philosophy and it was just like, oh my God, how to screw up somebody's brain, okay? How is your life? Remember, this is a beautiful, beautiful, powerful new moon. you have this galactic new cycle coming in, the red dragon. You have a portal coming in on September the 9th. And we do have a full moon on September the 20th. And let me tell you, that's going to be a rocker, because we're looking at a degree, a very critical degree. And so, you know, as bad as it is, always look at the good, okay? Isn't it awesome that what has happened is the human factors come out. You actually see the true colors of an individual. You see the true colors of education, pharmacy, banking, business, okay? The politics, you're seeing it. You just need to open your eyes to see it, okay? The bottom line is seeing it is just like, they're not going to say, it's just like for me, okay? I can remember being a teacher, and that was when I thought, wow, this is really crazy. I was told by my principal, and this is in high school, that we could not fail a student. We would hurt their self-esteem. Okay, so I questioned it. I said, but what heck? Because they said, say February 2nd semester, June 16th, they cannot put any marks in, they don't get any lates, there's no consequences for their action. So I said, but what about the student that stayed up till midnight and made sure to hand the stuff in? And they go, that's nothing. And I was told that it was out of context, and she didn't appreciate it. And actually my next statement to this principal was, well, that's fine, because when you send me an email saying you need to have your marks in, my marks in, by Monday morning at 10 o'clock, maybe I just don't feel like it. That's reality. I was lucky because I got an ed degree and worked within the apprenticeship, okay, in the different high schools. I taught in 5 different high schools in Alberta, some big ones. And so the apprenticeship program, we have to be able to show, okay, you have tests that you have to pass, okay? I mean, and in some of the other ones, do you want a doctor that did not pass? Where we have parents that are paying for their kids' marks in university and they think there's nothing wrong with them. You want somebody that's competent, that's qualified, that knows what they do, knows what they're doing, okay? And yes, I was a hairstylist, and yes, I moved up. I moved in my career the most I could, okay? I competed, I became a master judge. I trained for over 12 years. I coached, I was a color tech. I've done a lot. I traveled and gained a lot of information at different conventions and that type of thing, and took many, many classes, just like with my astrology and my spiritual. I've done that for 50 years. And again, you can check my books. What I want to end this with is just be. Honor who you are, okay? Honor that person. Come home to self. I say bring your spirit home. And it's just like, if something's upsetting you, you don't have to just go, okay, that's it, I'm leaving, blah, 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 blah. The seed has been planted. The seed's planted on this new moon. So look at the intentions. One of the intentions, because you have a couple of days to do it, is, you know, can I get some guidance as to what I need to be doing? You want to make sure, because we have a moon in Virgo, is everything decluttered in your house? Your bathroom, your closets, everything has its place? You have more clarity then. I just want to add, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. Remember where you can get this. I'm doing a lot of personal readings. I'm going to start doing some teaching in the fall on Zoom. And I do hope that you will comment. Once a month I do a free reading, I do a draw. I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe and if you would share. And like I say, this is the first time I haven't kind of read everything through. I had chunks from my different writing, and I just wanted to let you know it's going to be all right. The divine takes care of everything. This is the divine intervention. And guess what? You know a lot that you didn't know a year and a half ago. And maybe it was shocking, but it doesn't matter. It's the revelations. And if you think there's been shocks, we have some very, very major shocking disclosures before the end of 2021. Many blessings, much love, and take care.